Hi, I'm Caden, here with my brother,
Cal,
and you're listening to Eating W's.
eat the W.
That's a W. Let's eat one. Let's eat one. That's a W.
So, on today's episode of Eating W's, we have our preview for NFL Week 7. Now, we'll start with a quick update on the score of our head-to-head pick'ems game. It was a big differential week. I dropped 10 this week, and Callan only got 4. We picked a lot of different games, and it just kind of fell in my favor.
Tried to make up some ground and ended up losing more ground.
Yep.
So
the score this week, now after this week, is I have 60 and Callan has 48. So a pretty big gap is forming.
Yeah.
But just as this week showed for me, it can flip quick. One
Right.
good week, and that's pretty much
right
tied
back
again.
in it.
So, yep. So now we'll jump right into our game predictions. So first up, we have the Thursday night game of the Denver Broncos heading to Cleveland to take on the Browns. And man, it's just like the injury bowl for the Browns.
This is the hospital game. You're getting a bunch of replacement players playing.
Pretty much.
More for the Browns than the Broncos. The Browns are going to be missing Chubb, Hunt, Jarvis Landry.
Still.
OBJ is still, he's playing, but he's playing hurt. Baker is still questionable because it's not his throwing shoulder, so that leaves some hope. But on short rest after a second dislocation, I wouldn't be surprised if they just rest him this week and run out Case Keenum, the Viking legend, who will be with Stefanski, who was their quarterback coach. He the quarterback coach at the time?
Either quarterback coach or maybe offensive coordinator, but I feel like that might have been Kubiak.
I think that was still Kubiak.
So I think it'd be quarterback.
He was the quarterback coach of that 2017 team.
Yep.
So, hey, him and Keenum have done magical things before.
Yep. I mean, I could see it happening.
But I think the Broncos will win just because the Browns are missing too many players. Even though the Broncos are missing, like, Jerry Jeudy, and I know Teddy was banged up there for a little bit, but...
yeah.
I just think that the Browns just are not going to have enough healthy players to run a team out there, you know? So.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, but I picked the Browns and this one count as the Broncos. I picked the Browns because, I actually did these picks before. I knew all these people were out. But I still actually would take the Browns, probably even knowing all those people are out.
Just because of Stefanski and Keenum.
Because of the bias with Keenum and Stefanski. But also because the Broncos have just completely disappointed me this season. Like, I know they started hot, of course, because they faced all those awful teams to begin with.
They're beating the weaker teams, but they're not really able to stand up with the more top tier
Exactly.
teams.
Now that they're facing some competition, they have just showed me nothing to make me trust them at all. And I've picked them almost every week, so I'm just finally giving up on that. I think the Browns are going to rebound from a tough loss last week. I got the Browns in this one.
This will be the week the Broncos win, then.
Yep, exactly. That's fully what I expect. But next up, we have the Chiefs heading to Tennessee to take on the Titans, who, of course, are just coming off that huge win against the Bills. And Cal and I both have the Titans in this one. I picked the Titans for one reason, and one reason only. Derrick Henry is going to destroy that poor Chiefs defense.
And that's what I think so, too. The Titans just have had the Chiefs' number. The Titans beat them in the playoffs a couple years. I don't remember the Mariota touchdown catch.
Of course.
The second time that's ever happened where a quarterback threw a touchdown to himself. The first time was Brad Johnson in Minnesota against Green Bay.
Yep.
I only remember because I was like 8 years old and I was at that game.
I remember because when I was watching the Tennessee game, they mentioned
they
last
showed
time
that.
this happened, and I was like, hey, the Vikings did something. That was pretty cool.
And so, man, and I just think I think the Chiefs are a bad team this year. I know we've talked about it, that to be a bad team, you gotta lose 3 in a row. I think that the Chiefs are still trying to get away with that schoolyard magic bullshit that they've been getting away with for the past 2 years. And if you saw the first half of the Washington game, they tried to do that and almost blew up in their face. They were down at halftime. And then they came out and played more traditional football and scored 21 unanswered. Mahomes quit trying to do the no-looks and the side passes and the diving passes and the backwards pass and through his legs, and he was doing all that shit, and they were finally like, okay, you gotta stop. And he stopped, and they looked a lot better. Plus, did you know that Derrick Henry hit 21.8 miles per hour on that touchdown run Monday night?
Yes, Derrick Henry hit 21.8
21.8 miles an hour. That is the fastest speed for an NFL player during this season so far.
There you go. You sound just like the announcer now, mentioning it twice.
Oh, yeah. The analyst.
My God.
Analysis.
The amount of times he mentioned Derrick Henry's speed was beyond me. But yeah, we both got the Titans in this one, and I think it's going to be fully on the back of Derrick Henry. Next up, we have the football team heading to Green Bay to take on the Packers, and I think we got a pretty obvious one here, even coming from a Vikings fan. Cal and I both had the Packers in this one.
Green Bay's pretty talented. David Bakhtiari started practicing this week, so there's a slight chance we'll get him back this week. Probably will be next week. He hasn't played since last season. He tore his ACL week 17. So that'll be huge because our offensive line has played pretty well for having as many players down as we've had. Jenkins has been out. Myers has been out. Bakhtiari's been out all season. And now we're going to start getting these guys back. Jenkins came back last week. Bakhtiari will be back soon. Myers unfortunately hurt his knee right after he came back. He's going to miss a few more games. But boy, as this season gets on, I think we're going to get stronger because we're going to get a lot of these players back. And we have the last possible bye week
14,
I believe. Yeah, so, we don't get a rest till late in the season. I think that might be perfect.
As I say, that'll be good.
For a final run there towards the end.
Getting Bakhtiari back is going to be huge.
The only thing that worries me is that, and I said this last week actually about the football team against the Chiefs, is that their defensive line is very good, and I worry about that defensive line. If you're able to get pressure on Rodgers with just your 4 and play coverage, it's just the same way you beat Mahomes, really.
It's the same way you can beat any quarterback.
Any quarterback, really. And Rodgers is one of the best at being able to then adapt to his situation of, all right, well, we're going to figure out some other way to beat you. But I do worry about that with that defensive line, just beating up on them. And if, Washington can find a way to get out ahead early, I could see them possibly sneaking this game. Gibson might be out, though. He got hurt this week. That'd be a big blow to him. Fitz is still out, so it'd be Heineke. And it's Brett Favre Jr. coming back to Green Bay, but...
So, don't get me wrong. I think the Packers easily win this one. One thing to mention, though. Taylor Heineke, drafted by the Vikings. I believe he was with us 3 or 4 years. First 3 or 4 years of his career, he learned to hate the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
So, he comes into Green Bay, gets his first shot as the starting quarterback against the Packers. He might have a fire lit under his ass.
You never know.
But I think the Packers ultimately take this.
They should take this one.
Next up, we have my prediction for game of the week. It looks like this is going to be a fun game to watch. We got the Bengals heading to Baltimore to take on the Ravens in an AFC North divisional matchup. And Cal and I both have the Bengals in this one.
This is the game I picked last. I thought about it for a few minutes and moved on. Finished out my pick'em and went back. Thought about it for a few more minutes. This is the only time I actually thought about almost calling you and asking who you picked. Just out of curiosity, because boy, I could not. These are two really good teams. I don't know how Baltimore is a good team. I think they're very well coached, and that's a big part of it.
Definitely.
Because with all the injuries they've had, they shouldn't be 5-1, but they are. They got a goddamn running back playing quarterback.
Literally.
Just insane. And the Bengals, who have been the doormats the NFL the last few years, are starting to show that they got some talent on that team. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase is
that's a scary
becoming a
connection.
Very scary duo. It's looking like 2019 LSU over there.
That's pretty much exactly what it's looking like.
So
they should trade for Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
They might as well.
That'd be awesome, actually.
Make them LSU. Bring in Jarvis Landry. Get the LSU cornerbacks. Get Pat Pete off of IR. Send him down.
In Pat Pete. Dude, that actually, I would not even complain. That would be so fun to watch. But
yeah,
huge-
I guess we landed on the Bengals.
we both
decided
picked the
that
Bengals. Huge news that actually just recently came out. Cal was telling me before we started recording. Orlando Brown Jr., the starting, I believe, right tackle for the Ravens, just had an ankle surgery. That's what you said, right?
Well, Orlando Brown Jr. plays for the Chiefs.
Oh,
but
he's the one they traded.
But the starting tackle for the Ravens, Ronnie Stanley, is having ankle surgery this morning and will now be out the rest of the season.
Wow,
Orlando Brown still in Kansas City. Baltimore kicking themselves in the ass.
I was gonna say what made me
for trading Orlando Brown.
What
Jr.
made me say Orlando Brown is because as soon as Callan said Ronnie Stanley had the ankle injury, I automatically said, why in God's name did they ever decide?
Right, because now it's like, Brown? Now I bet they're like, damn. Wish we still had him.
So that's going to be huge there. Trey Henderson might have himself a little heyday.
He is, yeah. He's really, coming to his own. I don't know if he's a star rusher yet, but
he's proven that he's not a star rusher yet. But he's proven that he can be that main piece on the defensive line. He can be a starting player. He doesn't need a guy like Cameron Jordan on the other side.
Right, yeah.
So that will be a super fun game to watch. We are, of course, going to keep a very big eye on that one. Next up, we have the Panthers going to New York to take on the Giants. And I think we got an obvious one here. Repeat of last week. The Giants are so beat up. They just look bad. I think the Panthers on a 3-game losing streak are pissed, and they're going to want a big win.
Well, I was about to say, what a time for a get-right game.
Exactly.
Against a just downtrodden, I don't know, chaotic
There's so many words
Giants
to describe
team.
the Giants right now.
I don't know what they're going to do. Everybody thought Joe Judge and Daniel Jones is the answer, and I don't think they are. Joe Judge looks like he's, overwhelmed, and Daniel Jones just looks like he kind of like how I said with Hurts. He looks like a backup quarterback.
Joe Judge has got people throwing punches in practice, out of practice, in the games,
after the games. I mean, I don't know. I think he'd fit a lot better in the old school NFL of the 70s and 80s.
When you could just
when you were having basically when you settle the difference, you just fought it out in the locker room, after the game. I mean, I don't know. It's just
the Giants are just a cluster of an organization. I see when
the
Panthers
Saquon
getting a big win.
Comes back, he just gets fluke injuries now.
Now he's not even getting serious injury. He's just getting injuries that are like, that's what happened. That's why you're out for 2-3 weeks. You stepped on the corner's ankle, which rolled your ankle,
and it was after the play. You were just basically trotting back to the huddle and just
that poor guy. I really like Saquon Barkley, when he was destroying Iowa
just
at Penn State.
As a player and talent level,
when
he's
such
fully
bad
healthy,
luck,
he is fun to watch.
But I think we got a pretty obvious one. For the
Carolina should really, like I said, get right with this one and end their losing streak and keep the Giants going.
Exactly. Next up, we have the Falcons-Dolphins, which, believe it or not, is in Miami,
now, I don't know how this game is in London. Because these were two of the worst teams that we just sent to London. And so why not just have them just stay over there?
This total Tank Bowl dumpster fire of a matchup has London written all over it. I don't know how it got put in Miami.
Even they were like, we don't want these guys.
We have
you send us someone else?
Can we get the Bengals or Ravens game?
Right? Yeah, who would have thought?
But who would have thought that was
the game? Yeah, that'll be the game of the week.
But Cal and I split this one down the middle. I took the Falcons. Callan took the Dolphins.
I just feel like the Dolphins are better than what they've been. Or should be better than what they've been. Granted, they were missing both starting corners last week.
That's a huge hit.
And they could, I'm not sure if they're going to be out a while or if it was a one-game deal. But if they get that back, that'll help having your Byron Jones and Xavier Howard both back. And if they are back, even if they're not, I think Brian Flores is a lot better coach than people give him credit for. I don't think there's a lot of talent down there in Miami, and he's still able to get a good amount of wins and get good showings out of that team. So I just think that this one was kind of a toss-up because Jesus, it got scrambled there. And
We're both struggling.
yeah, the hardest thing to pick is a game between two bad teams. It's harder to pick than a game between two good teams. These are actually the two games that I just kept going back and forth on. The Bengals Ravens and the Falcons Dolphins here. Because it's like, which team's gonna show up?
This game, we say it a lot where we call games coin tosses, but this game is the true definition of a coin toss. You have just as good of a chance of saying heads or tails than you do of actually analyzing and getting a good pick on this game.
And they say when it's a toss-up like that, you just go with the home team.
I like that.
Because being home gives you the 51-49% advantage.
That's true.
Because you're at home.
I picked the Falcons for one big flaw on the Dolphins side and one big plus on the Falcons side. I just don't trust Tua. He hasn't shown me anything. I don't trust him yet. Maybe he can still change my mind. But for now, I don't think he's the answer. I think they could even maybe think about looking for the future in this year's draft. It's a pretty decent
it's
quarterback
very possible.
draft.
Or trading for Deshaun still.
Deshaun Watson
still
is
out there as a rumor.
And then, of course, the big plus for the Falcons is they finally realized, wow, Kyle Pitts is really good. Kyle Pitts had a huge game in London.
There's a reason he was the 4th overall pick.
He's coming off a bye week. He's going up against the defense that's still really beat up. They might have one of their corners back, but I don't think they'll have them both back. I can't remember which one is which. But
I think Xavier Howard. I think he was a late scratch.
Yeah, I think Xavier Howard will be back, but Jones will still be out then. I can see how Pitt's having a huge game, and that's one of the biggest reasons I picked the Falcons.
And is Ridley going to play?
I believe Calvin Ridley is playing.
I know he was out last week, too. That's why Pitts did so well.
Yes, I believe he will be back. I could still see them targeting Pitts a lot, though, especially with the distraction of Calvin Ridley. But next up, we got to give me here pretty much. We got the Jets heading to Foxborough to take on the Patriots. Patriots are coming off a loss, but an amazing game against the Cowboys. Jets are coming off a bye, if I'm not mistaken. Last time they faced in New York, Zach Wilson threw 4 picks.
Kyle Wilson.
Yeah, Kyle Wilson. I could see a return from Kyle Wilson here, big time. Cal and I both have the Pats, and I even picked the Pats as my lock this week. Lock it in. Oh,
yeah. I mean, hell, Belichick just owns the Jets.
It's just obvious here.
It's one of those things that just always happens. Belichick, he loves to just beat the Jets. Because I think that he likes to torture them about how close they were to having him and Brady. Because if Belichick had stayed in New York, he said that he would have drafted Brady when he could have. He always wanted to draft Brady.
What a weird alternative.
So, right, I'd love to see that alternate universe where the Jets are whatever they are, 8-time Super Bowl champions.
Because then they'd have Namath going into Brady.
Fucking Brady has. I think they had to add extra fingers for him just to fit all his rings.
They will. They're going to have to start making toe rings.
Take toes off there and add it up here.
Yeah.
Get like a dew claw.
Put a big toe right on his wrist.
Yeah, it'll be like a dew claw for for the puppies. The dew claws.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know anything about
it.
I only know
there's a claw that's like right here on a dog.
We have a diagram. How convenient. I didn't even think about that.
But there's a dew claw. It's a little like thumbnail on a dog that's right here. Right here. And actually, as puppies, some of them will have them removed because they can get caught. It's actually used to help clean. Like, they use it to help clean their face, their ears, and their eyes. That's why you always... I don't know how we got into a vet discussion here.
The more you know, I guess that's what... But yeah, I don't really have much to say. The Pats are just going to destroy the poor Jets.
Oh yeah, them giving Brady a dew claw.
Because he needs another ring.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Pats are just going to beat
But yes,
those
the Pats,
Jets.
Belichick... Boy, yeah.
Next up,
the day the Jets start beating Belichick on a regular is the day he retires.
That's how you know. Yeah. That's how you know it's gone downhill in New England. But next up, we have the Eagles heading to Vegas, heading to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders, and again another kind of toss-up right here. Cal and I both have the Raiders in this one. I really liked how they played last week. Even without Gruden, Carr is still playing well. That Carr to Waller connection just proved to be as strong as it always has been. And the Eagles are just literally two different teams. So
yeah, you're not sure which Eagle team's gonna show up.
I pretty much refuse to pick the Eagles this point in the year, no matter.
This is a rematch of the Super Bowl 15 of 1980, where the number one seed Eagles lost to the wild card Oakland Raiders, who were 9-7 and just snuck in, and then they upset the Eagles in one of the. I won't say one of the first upsets, because the first upset was obviously Super Bowl III, Joe Namath.
Yep.
But so this was the Super Bowl that was portrayed in the Ace Ventura movie. That was, it was based off of this, because they had the Eagles and Dolphins in the Super Bowl, but it was actually Eagles Raiders. But I don't know why they changed it.
I've never seen Ace Ventura.
You've never seen Ace Ventura? Time out. How have I not let you see one of the funniest movies of all time?
Because it's not funny. Jim Carrey's not that funny.
What?
That's a very unpopular
Oh my
opinion,
gosh! All right, yeah. Hold on.
I personally
After
don't
this,
like Jim Carrey.
I'm gonna have to have a discussion here, because I just learned something that I did not know.
Look for an
about
extra
my own brother.
episode this week of the Jim Carrey discussion.
Yeah.
No.
He also doesn't like Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump's.
He's never seen it beginning to end, but
Forrest
he doesn't
Gump's
like
such
it.
a stupid movie. Get back to football. We'll talk about movies for like an hour. Maybe we will have to do some weird.
So now we've gotten a
episode.
movie and a vet discussion in this episode. So much for cutting back on time.
Yeah, we've had a discussion that we need to cut back on time, but then here, this is why we can't cut back on time.
Oh,
Just get back to this stupid phone.
what game are we on?
What game? Eagles
Raiders. I picked the Raiders because Richie Beyonce seems to be really. Apparently, Mark Davis knows what he's talking about. Those guys were motivated to play for him. They looked the most complete and adept that I've seen them all season. Maybe since that first game. And so Carr looked good. I could tell he was pretty bummed still about Gruden. He said,
Did you see that interview?
I love the man, hate to sin.
Yep.
So, he's like, man, he's still talking to him.
Oh,
He doesn't want to say it, but
110%
he's still in contact with those guys. This is just an acting head coach. I believe that Richie Beyonce, do we know how to say his actual name yet? Richie Beyonce, I believe, is just a puppet head coach, and they actually had to fire Gruden, but he's wearing a Groucho Marx mask up in the press box, calling down the plays still.
He's up there. We all know he's up there. But yeah, we both took the Raiders in that one. Next up, we have the Lions and Rams, and I was gonna say that this is another give me, but Callan actually decided to take the Lions as his upset this week.
This is the upset week. You know why? Jared Goff. As bad as he plays, this is his revenge game. Remember, McVay? Goff was McVay's guy. He was handpicked him. He was signed a long-term extension, and then as soon as a more talented quarterback came along, who gets kicked to the curb like yesterday's trash? Jared Goff to Detroit. So he's gonna come in motivated and upset and be like, "Damn it, McVay! Why did you send me to Detroit?"
That's why he's really mad. He's not mad at like the Rams. He's just mad because he's at Detroit. He's not on the Rams anymore.
And so, yeah, and I mean, the Stafford and Detroit, they separate amicably. There's going to be no bad blood or ill will there. Goff's the one that's got the issue. He was the one on this young superstar team that, had years ahead of him. And now he's like, where the hell am I? What is this place?
He's like, this guy just bit my knee.
Yeah, the coach is goddamn psychotic.
He's crying again.
He's crying again. He's biting kneecaps. I mean, McVay, he's intense, but all he did was run out on the field. He just needed a guy to keep him on the sidelines.
When Dan Campbell got to get back coach, he killed him.
FCDC has two bouncers to keep him on the sidelines. Like they're actually like wardens with rifles and.
I just watched him punch a guy's head off like the boxing scene from Jason X, or Jason Goes to Manhattan. I don't know what to do. I'm terrified. But though,
yes, I see Goff going in and upsetting the Rams. This is where MCDC and Jared Goff need to go in and say, this is our game. This is the game that can get us on the right track and show that not only are we a good team, but we've made the right decision here.
You've been mentioning that all it's going to take for Detroit to get some wins is motivation. If they want, or momentum, rather. Here's momentum. And if you can pull off an upset
motivation.
here.
Motivation for a win to prove that, Goff beating McVay, how great would that be for his confidence?
Serendipity.
I think that, because everybody said Goff can't do it without McVay. Goff's record without McVay is terrible. He's 4-16 or something like that without McVay.
Oh yeah, because Jeff
Fisher was his first year.
Yeah, okay.
In fact, I don't even know if he's won a game without McVay yet. He might not even won a game
right now. So.
Yeah, I don't think, and so because those Jeff Fisher Rams teams were terrible,
so bad.
So I don't think he's won a game without McVay. So what a perfect time for Goff's first win to be against his old coach and Sean McVay, and I think that's what will happen. It's in Detroit.
I do agree that Goff has much more bad blood, but I don't think...
Is it in Detroit?
Nope. It's in Los Angeles.
So, see, there won't be the distraction of Stafford coming back. This will be Goff returning to L.A., returning to St. Louis, wherever they were when he started playing. This is his return, and he's going to make the statement that you should have kept me.
I definitely agree that there's more bad blood with Goff, but I don't think that it was quite fully amicable between the Lions and Stafford.
Oh, I
think maybe the leaving was, but he's going to be looking at that team like, this is a team that wasted 11 years of my career when I could be winning playoff games and Super Bowl rings.
He knows how easy it is to beat Detroit.
So I think he's going to have some
fire
under
take a try
him
at this.
too. I took the Rams. They just got the better roster overall. But don't get me wrong. I even thought about this when I picked the Rams. This has trap game written all over it, to say the least. So I wouldn't be completely shocked if the Lions pulled off an upset or at least kept it really close and gave a run for their money, similar to the Ravens earlier in the season. But that'll be a fun game to watch with the two quarterbacks returning. Next up, we got the Bears at the Buccaneers, and Cal and I both took the Bears on this one, and I marked it as my upset. Now, when I looked it up, the Bucs are favored by 13.5 or something. It's a huge favor. And I know we don't really look at spreads or anything, but I don't think the Bears are that much worse of a team than the Bucs, because the Bucs aren't the Bucs of last year. They have a much worse secondary.
Well,
the secondary
injured. Davis is out. Jordan Whitehead's out.
Yes, the secondary's injured. Winfield took a huge regression, and now he's out.
He's got a concussion.
Wow, so here we go. Justin Fields' heyday. The thing about it, though, is it's going to be, maybe they should wait one more week to kind of really install that run game, because the Bucs still do have an amazing front seven, but with that beat-up secondary, let him show a little bit more of his arm talent and kind of hold the run game off another week or two, because he might be able to pick that secondary apart. And as for offense, we of course know the last time that Brady faced the Bears, it was third down. Yep, exactly. Third down.
Third down?
Yeah, third down.
Third down.
Fourth down, third down. You know how it goes for Brady. But yeah, Mac is going to be getting on him all game. That defense of the Bears has looked decent. I mean, they held the Packers, who have a pretty explosive offense, to only 24, with the last touchdown coming pretty late in the game. So watch the Bears for a big upset in this game.
That Bears defense is, for whatever reason, the Bears defense is able to get in Brady's head, and the Bears defense has always been good against Brady. They haven't always won, but they've always been good against him. For whatever reason, the Bears can get pressure on Brady, and it works. Most of the time you'd say not pressure him, but they seem to be able to get quite a bit of pressure on him.
I'd agree.
And it really messed with them last year. Although last year, after that whole debacle, I don't think they lost the game.
No.
After that. So
I remember when Mac sacked Brady and then tossed Tristan Wirfs.
Oh,
like a
yeah,
rag
that's
doll.
right.
That play was
They just
insane.
threw him to
Tristan
the
Wirfs
side.
is a what? He's got to be at least 325.
He's a
pound
325, 6'7".
And Mac just single arm
behemoth.
tossed him like it was WWE wrestling.
Right, he just gave him the old hip toss.
It was insane
Outside
to
of
say
the
the
ring
least.
there, yeah.
But yeah, definitely keep an eye out on the Bears this week.
So I do think the Bears could get the upset here.
Justin Fields is gonna break out.
He's
gonna
gonna
happen.
get someone.
I just don't know
He's
when.
gonna get him.
But next up, we have the Texans and poor DM3 heading to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. Now, barring a miracle from Callan's boy DM3,
Run
we
DM3.
both have the Cardinals.
I
in
don't
this
know
one.
if the Tyrod prophecy is working so well this year. Stat-wise, actually, he's not doing that bad.
But
As a team, they're just not winning.
and so the funny thing about it is DM3 is slowly falling into what I'm going to call the Saints routine, where he seems to be going every other week. When he first came in, he had a little bit of an up. Whenever Tyrod got hurt, he came in and he played decent, so that was a little bit of an up. Then he had a huge down. Then he went to Belichick rather, and had the best game a rookie has ever had against Belichick on a huge up. And then last week went back down with like 150 total yards and 4 picks, I think it was. Right, maybe not 4, but it's a couple picks at least.
Yeah.
So maybe we see the Cardinals get their first loss in a huge upset.
No.
But I don't see it happening.
No.
That is a
No.
huge miracle if it even gets close.
No.
DM3 could have a pretty damn good game, and I still think the
Right.
Cardinals pull out a win.
The Cardinals are just, I mean, they have a lot of talent on that team, and it proved that I don't think it matters who the coach is. That team's just all talent. That's all that team. There's a ton of talent on that team.
It is a good team, to say the least. Don't know about 6-0 team. Should be 5-1
Probably
definitely.
5-1, but don't worry about that. An NFC North Green Bay team has your back next week.
First time in a while I want to see the Packers win. We'll talk about that next week. But next up we have the Sunday night game of the Colts heading to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. And we got another split in this one. Callan has the Niners and I took the Colts. Now I said it a few weeks in a row. Slowly coming out of the closet as a Colts fan. But I just really like Carson Wentz. I like that team overall. Carson Wentz has shown that he can be a great complementary piece to an amazing run game there with Jonathan Taylor, who's proving himself to be a star. They got a great receiving core. T.Y. Hilton is back. Michael Pittman is still a good sophomore guy.
They lost Paris Campbell, though.
Oh, I did not know they lost Paris Campbell. That sucks. But with T.Y. coming back, that kind of eases the blow a little bit. They got a great defense overall, of course, headed by the maniac Darius Leonard, one of my favorite defensive players in the NFL. So, I got the Colts. I said it before the bye week. Niners having the bye week last week. I said it before their bye week. I can't tell. I can't get a grip on if they're a good team or not, or where they are in the NFL right now. So I just went with the safe option, in my opinion, and took the Colts.
And I took the 49ers coming off a bye week. They get a week to rest. I think that is Trey Lance going to play? Is it Trey Lance or Jimmy G?
I have no idea if either of them are going to play.
Yeah, I know. It might be Josh Rosen.
The chosen Rosen.
So, but this was another one that was kind of like a tough one to pick because both teams have been good, both have been bad. So it's just. But I think that the 49ers I think they have a little bit better defense. I think that they're going to get some pressure on two sprains. And, Wentz wants to do that magical stuff that Mahomes does, and he just can't do that anymore. He got away with it in Philly in 2017, and that seems like forever ago now. And, he's had so many injuries now. I don't think he can do it. He did better last week when he was able to stay in the pocket and throw, but it just seems to be against his nature to be the pocket passer guy. He's always seemed to be the guy who tries to make a play, and it's just hard to get that out of a player.
I'd agree. Coming from a smaller school like North Dakota State, I feel like he knew he was the real part of that offense.
Right,
so he
yeah.
knew he could do some of that stuff like that. That just doesn't fly in the NFL.
No.
So, for our final game, we got the Monday Night Football game of the New Orleans Saints heading to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. Cal and I both had the Saints in this one, and Callan has it as his lock.
Because I guarantee it. The bye week was the down week for the Saints. So, no win. So, this is the up week. You got Jameis Winston coming in, looking to eat that W. Plus, you got Geno Smith still laying on the ground.
He's still looking at his hands.
He's still looking at his hands on the ground in Pittsburgh. They had to leave him. He just wouldn't get up. I don't know. So, I'm not sure who Seattle's throwing on at quarterback. Geno's in Pittsburgh on the field still. They're going to... Even that Steelers game, is there a Steelers game? No, Steelers are off this week. That's why. So he's still in Heinz Field because there's no one there. He's still not sure what happened. So he is in his head. So now he's not even sure if he can play quarterback because Geno Smith, as good as he looked, this same thing happened to him with the Jets. As soon as something bad happened, it just seemed to fuck with him all season long. And I don't know. He's just someone he lets the things around him affect him too much. It looks like, and boy, losing the game like that's gotta be hard. Plus, you got Jameis coming in on Monday night.
Prime time, baby.
Prime time, eating the W on Monday night, right?
I have literally nothing to add. You perfectly exemplified I took the Saints.
Exactly.
They're back on their up week. The bye was the down week. I am interested to see how the bye will work with their roller coaster season. Right? Is that a pause, or is this actually a down week, or is it going to be an up week because the bye week was a down week?
But we'll find out. I'm going that the bye week.
I agree. I'm also going with that.
Up and down just continues.
I mean, I agree.
It's all about odds and evens.
But yep, we both got the Saints in this one. So just a quick mention of bye weeks. We got the Buffalo Bills, Dallas Cowboys, Jacksonville Jaguars, Minnesota Vikings, Pittsburgh Steelers, and Los Angeles Chargers all on a bye this week. I believe this is the biggest bye week, week 7. So
the teams with the most teams on a bye this week. Yep.
So that is our week 7 preview for the NFL. For NFL week 7 rather. That is our preview. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, don't forget
to eat the W's.